Hello and good afternoon, everyone. I want to do a quick check-in. This is John Ruman, and I am doing a 40-day water fast. I wanted to share an update of how long I've been doing it. So this is just took a screenshot of a program I'm using to track. The program only has 30 days of data, so what I'll do is I'll do that, and then I'll do another 30 days once that, I'm sorry, I'll do a fresh, just how many days of 30 days after I do that. And I just want to share with you where I'm at right now. So in about a couple hours, I'll be at finish day 22. And I always log the day I'm in. So have I done this a couple hours from now, I would have said day 23. I always do whatever day I'm in, not how many days are done. So it's been a really interesting fast in that I've definitely learned that one of the most profound hacks for me has been taking coffee. Not by taking coffee, I mean drinking coffee in the mornings, that I need a little bit more energy, and making sure not to do that every single day. Your brain and your body acclimates very quickly to coffee, so you need a couple days off. But when you use it sparingly, it's like a powerhouse. It really helps you to stay very focused. And the days you don't, you kind of run around 80%. And if you're newer into fasting, you would be less than 80%. You may run at maybe a 60% of your normal energy. So yeah, in past fast, this is a unique fast. I've definitely crossed a threshold where I am able to do these longer fasts without it being quite so exhausting. I am still detoxing, and it's not that my body doesn't need rest. I typically need, by the way, about 9 to 10 hours sleep a night. So I go to bed relatively early most nights, and I sleep in a little bit later most mornings. And I kind of arrange my schedule so I can do that. And in doing so, it allows me to make sure that I'm able to get the rest I need. So, because I am working the whole time, and one of the unique things I've done this time, and I can check the history, but I've been working out. The hardest part during fasting is because your body, you don't have any sugar stores. Your body has what are called ketone bodies, hence the term keto, which is very popular in the regular world here. But these, when you're on keto, it's fine, but you just don't have burst energy, so you get really fatigued and your heart rate goes up. So, for example, the water I drink has pink salt in it, a pink salt brine. It doesn't taste quite salty, but it does a little bit at times, and it helps you raise your blood pressure just a little bit, which makes these longer fasts easier because your blood pressure drops. But a really important thing when you do fast, by the way, because it's easy to, as crazy as it sounds, it's easy to forget to drink. You can often become dehydrated. And hydration is really important because it helps your body not only to have good quality blood pressure and just natural hydration, but also elimination, urination, etc. needs to happen. And you do have small little bowel movements even when you're many days into fasting. So your body's trying to flush out. And there are methods to kind of continue flushing things out through your bowel system, but I'm not really here to discuss that today. So, and again, all these things are my experiences. None of this is advice, but if you do get into this, my encouragement for everyone is to really get into intermittent fasting, understanding, especially if you're taking medication, the risks associated with doing any kind of longer fast. The body, when it doesn't have food in the system, dumps toxins, and it doesn't feel good. Also, it doesn't feel good when your body is not good at switching from sugar burning to fat burning, which they often call metabolic flexibility. So improving your metabolic flexibility with intermittent fasting and the occasional day to 2 day fast helps. But when you go longer than 3 days, your body actually really goes into full ketosis and has a stronger, it literally has to do the full switch from sugar to fat. So people do micro amounts when they do this keto diet that is so popular, but they don't have a lot of energy, and that's kind of the sucky thing. So um, my hack has been I will drink coffee that day, and then when I work out, it gives me that little bit boost of energy, but I do find that my rest between sets is longer. And honestly, the weights are starting to get heavy now, so when I'm working out, I do a compound series of movements. I do back squat, bent over row, bench press, something called overhead press. Some people call that military press, and I do something called the deadlift. So I'm doing these legitimate full body exercises, and I'm actually increasing resistance. What's been one of the more interesting things for me is now that I've seemed to have crossed over this threshold where I can work out and not be completely exhausted. I'm going to forewarn you though, like when you do this, it took me a long time. So I would say this is a 3 or 4 year trek, not including years of intermittent fasting, which kind of helps the body get good at the metabolic flexibility and detoxing and clean diet. But eventually, it just takes a while for the body to be clean enough that you can actually do this. And otherwise, honestly, I tried it a couple years ago when my body just wasn't where it is now on the fasting track. It was awful working out, and I was not a fan of it. I do not encourage it. I mean, try it, but my experience was going for a walk. I live near a park called Eddie in Trinidad, and my wife and I would go for walks around this park, and it would be my pace would be about a third of the normal pace. I could walk, and I could walk for an hour and a half, and I would be exhausted when I was done, but that was as much as I could do. And I'm saying this because there's a threshold eventually that, and those who are on, feel free to say hi in the chat. I can't see who you are because I'm streaming the multiple places, so all I see is a thumbs up, and I appreciate the thumbs up, but I can't tell who you are. So I would happily call you out by name, send you my love, always happy to do that. But there's an author, and his name is Arnold Ehret, E-H-R-E-T, who wrote a handful of books in the 20s and 30s in the US. He talked about a dietary system which is very, I think, incredibly accurate, but is, and I've kind of tried to live that way, and I found it really, really helpful in how I feel. But I bring it up because this guy would talk about long fasts, and he talked about he did like a 45-day fast, and at the end of this fast, and there's rain happening in the background, so if it's picking up in my mic, I apologize. So he did this super long fast, and after it was done, he did a 50-mile hike. 50-mile hike. So, which I thought sounded insane a year and a half ago. And again, I would do slow walking, but nothing intense. So what I did, for example, even my workout yesterday, I worked out, probably about a 25-minute workout, fairly high pace, heartbeat going a little above normal, but not super high. So it's not like you're doing cardio. Cardio is much more challenging on a fast because it just doesn't work well. Your body doesn't, to do these kinds of cardio and more higher intensity kind of things, you can't do them. You have to do, even when I'm doing weights, it's a tremendous stress on my body, but my heart only goes so high. And if it goes high, it's fairly brief. And my encouragement would really not to be doing that. If you are doing fasting, do walking. But really, people doing fast should be primarily lying down, resting, eat, and then when you're not fasting, try to eat cleaner and cleaner, and then it just becomes easier over time. So view that as the path. You'll know when you can do what I'm doing. And again, not having coffee all day, having caffeine is a once in a while thing, makes it so that you get that boost that's super helpful. So with that, I'm going to log off. I just wanted to share this quick message. I love and appreciate all of you who have been so wonderfully supportive. I get messages all the time, and I appreciate all your support, the sharing, the ability to help spread the importance of being clean. It's I'm doing it almost entirely for spiritual reasons. So, but there's a lot of health benefits to fasting. Obviously, if you look at me now, I didn't get great sleep last night. We had a lot of rain where I live, and it was very loud. I didn't have deep restful sleep, but um, besides that, my face, if you ever look at it, has a much more youthful appearance than the first day. So I don't know how many more years younger I have in appearance, but your body does get biologically younger. You don't just look younger, and it's not like this miracle, not just like miracle stuff for your skin. It actually anti-ages you, which is scientifically proven, even on shorter fasts. But with that, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate your support. Appreciate all your questions. So any questions you have, put them in the chat, and I will answer them in the next live. And what I usually do, unfortunately, the social media programs don't show me the questions that people don't ask live. I actually have to go in later on. So I have a lot of these questions that I have to kind of weed through all these old lives. But I appreciate you. I wish you the best on your fasting journey. I welcome your questions. There are no stupid questions. And if you get into this, just remember the most important thing. It is a marathon, not a sprint. This is not something that you're going to be able to do what I'm doing with ease immediately, but eventually you can. And one of the things I'm very happy to say is I honestly wasn't 100% sure this Arnold Ehret was, I'm like, unless I've experienced it, it's hard to believe these things. So he's talking about doing these, being able to be a fair amount of being athletic in the midst of a fast didn't seem possible, but it is possible, and that's really the awesome thing. So I'm not going to compete in a race, but I can actually live and have a normal semblance of life. I haven't lost any muscle. If anything, I've gained muscle. Ask a scientist how that happens. I actually talked to a couple doctors already, and they said it completely makes sense you can gain muscle. They said it won't be accepted by the mainstream science, but they said there's plenty of science backing up. So I thought that was interesting. So if you're on the chat and you want to ask me about that, I'm happy to hear your thoughts. Or you could say it's total rubbish, and I respect that too. So with that, I love you. I appreciate you. You're amazing. And I hope you have an incredible rest of your day. I'll see you. I'll probably try to post tomorrow or the day after.